Hello, everybody, and here we are on week 50. My goodness, only two more after this. So, uh, Gary, in the video before this, I have Dr. Daniel Nightingale on, and I mentioned to him about what you and I both learned, funnily enough, with Chase Hughes
Mm.
about the methylene blue and nicotine and the um, oh gosh, the one that melatonin, the
Yeah,
200 milligrams. Now, it was interesting because Dr. Dan did know of these,
right,
and he also said actually he takes nicotinamide
right.
and 5 cups of, he drinks them 5 cups of green tea as well. So I am not going to prescribe anything to anybody, okay? Because that is not what I
Yeah,
do.
well, yeah, and in the UK that's difficult as well. So,
Yeah, so there's no way on this world. But it's like, well, this is what somebody said, and you'd have to take it. Anybody would have to go do more research and go with their doctor. But you could say to somebody, you could look into this, you
yeah,
could look into it.
yeah, and a lot of the stuff that Chase Hughes was mentioning are very illegal in the UK as well.
And that's really interesting, isn't it? So
Yeah,
what
he
is
was
that
talking.
about then? Yeah.
Yeah, there was obviously because we're recording, so I won't mention it, but there was a particular thing that he mentioned that he happened to have with him, which he left on a table if any, and he wouldn't notice, if any disappeared, and it was quite tempting. But I thought, well, I've already logged out the hotel. It's not something I can try at the airport or on the flight home. And then I looked it up to thought, well, can I bring it home with me? And it's actually a Class A over here, so that's if I'd have got stopped coming through customs.
Wow. Wow,
So,
that
so
it,
I looked at that, and a Class B was anything up to a 5-year jail term, for not having a valid prescription to show that could have that to show you could have it. So possession of it is illegal, unless you can produce a prescription to say that a valid prescription to say you've been prescribed it.
wow. So interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's yet it's interesting as well because he said that he'd done another degree with Oxford
Mm.
University in England. So they must be doing studies.
Yeah. Well, his latest master's degree I thought was in radiology.
Okay. Okay. You probably were listening better than I was. uh, but it's but anyway, I mean, I don't know whether he's a neuroscientist or not, but he seems to know a lot about
Yeah, he seems to be pretty
neurology.
knowledgeable.
And so yeah, but it was, however, the fact is that Dr. Dan said there is still no cure.
Yeah.
And so it's about living with this. And because we are not doctors, and there's no way on this world would I suggest to anybody on this course that we can prescribe, diagnose, and any of that. We're just here to support. And and literally the thing that we might like to encourage people to do is make sure they're drinking enough water, and that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
And potentially, as we've already done in the first one, there was eating well. You can add turmeric, you can add coconut oil, blueberries, that sort of thing,
Mhm.
all natural things that we can get in the grocers. So but it is fascinating that potentially there is other stuff out there. So yeah, that is interesting. Now, as I said, I spoke to Dr. Dan. We did a whole covering of all of it that we've covered. And again, he was saying about the diet is so important, and an exercise. So again, is that a prescription? We've got to. I'm doing the ethics here, I think, really,
Mm.
uh, without me even being aware of it. The ethics behind this. So again, even in general practice, people say, check with your doctor first before you
Oh
do
yeah.
any exercise.
Yeah. Yeah. Sort of. I believe the term over here it's social prescribing, isn't it?
Oh, there you go. Socially prescribing.
Social
Well,
prescribing. Yeah.
it's like walking around the shops would be encouraged.
Yeah.
You know, with, again, I think we've mentioned this before, with a little note card on yourself if necessary, just saying on the back there that my companion is living with dementia. Thank you for your patience. And it just means that, oh, okay, that if they do walk out the shop with a few things, then they're not going to call the police. Okay, because people forget to pay.
Mm.
That has happened. Or because they're just forgotten. They've forgotten it was on their arm. You know, they just don't remember. Now, again, we will mostly be seeing people who have got early diagnoses to help encourage the brain health coaching. And that is coaching, that is not prescribing. So it's, but always keep learning, because they did do a lot of research into that. It was called Aging with Grace. And they, a whole load of nuns, they allowed their brains to be examined. And even though they had, now this is very interesting, because even though they actually did have deterioration of their brain, and they could see they were full of plaques and tangles. However, they weren't showing the outward signs of having dementia, because they were still learning. They were actually doing a degree in their 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
So thereby, which is so, you know, we're going back to what Chase Hughes was saying about how his neurons, you know, because of the neuroplasticity, that this methylene blue and all this other stuff is building the neurons again. So can learning. And isn't it interesting that he too has just done another degree?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, you know, it's probably a bit of both. So we always encourage new games, and then the whole thing of purpose. I do think every single morning it's so wonderful to be able to wake up with knowing what you're going to do for the day.
Yeah, and I think on this idea of the learning, I think on the idea, as they say, it's to keep stimulating the brain, obviously, and give it a workout and exercise. And I guess people have different ways to do it. I mean, I know a lot of people, they'll do Sudoku or crosswords or stuff like that, which is great, but I tend to find that sort of thing boring. So I would think I'd rather learn something, like he's done, than something aimless, if you like.
Same here. I would, because I find it's like maybe one to pass time, but it's like, well, now what?
Yeah.
It'd be like, I'd rather make up a new recipe or, cook. And that's another great thing, is that if somebody's still able, get them cooking, get them learning something, adding value, to help out in the household, reading to children, because people can still read, because people still are very purposeful. They still want to be valued. Just because they have this diagnosis doesn't mean that that's it. Sadly, we know that it can deteriorate. I remember my grandma having about 5 or 6 different books on the go. She didn't care. Don't really matter, because she'd forgotten what she'd read, so she's just reading in the moment. So she's being present. So what does any of that really matter?
Yeah.
But it's about bringing people, finding people where they're at in that moment, and then and instead of keep testing them with, well, do you not remember that? Do you not remember that? No, they don't. So, well, let's do this now. and that's all they will remember, is the now. And that's okay. However, please remember, everybody, they will never forget the feeling. So they may forget if you've been horrible to them, what you've actually said, but they won't forget the feeling of it. It's very different, because they'll start to feel unsafe around you. And that, I believe, anchors in, which is why I had another friend of mine reach out, because her mother-in-law doesn't want to be with her husband because she feels unsafe around him. And that's horrible, because she actually has to be with him because he's her caregiver, and I have no idea what's going on there. It just must be very scary. So she had a very unhappy marriage, felt scared of him, and then she gets dementia and she can't get away. So she's not even at least stable. She just knows she's scared. That's not very nice, is it?
No, not at all.
So so it's our words, it's our communication, all of those things, of what we can do for people. And again, it's very interesting because in America here we've got Thanksgiving coming up soon.
Turkey Day. Yeah.
Turkey Day. But it's a lot of gratefulness, and people really do anchor in that smell, and we do in England with probably more with Christmas, I would think.
Well, yeah, because obviously that's our Turkey Day.
That's our Turkey Day. But we have Christmas pudding, and we have, it's mixed with the whole thing of like just the bright lights and things like that, and that is anchored in that feeling. So there's a lot of food is a really big anchor for people. The smell of it. So it's like, if they were, say, a big baker or a big whatever they did, encourage it still. Their identity, their purpose, what they can do. I think it's really important. And of course, this is all very time consuming for the care partners. And if people are trying to work and they're trying to do that and that and that, and that is, there goes that actually do things for you, because when you're looking after the person living with dementia with certain healthy foods, healthy this, doing all these things, you're actually looking after yourself as well. Having to listen to a guided meditation, you are actually then looking after yourself as well. And that's the beauty of it, because there are so many lovely guided meditations that we can give to people. But of course, we have to know that as the journey goes down, it's not easy by any means. And we have to understand that it will be a roller coaster of emotions. So there's I just wanted to at some point check with you that you're comfortable with doing that. The test, it's not a test, it's just a benchmark of where we are.
Yeah, I did it with my father a couple of times before.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, out of curiosity, because he seemed to be getting a bit confused, and we were just curious. So.
What was what was that like for him?
Well, he got sloppy about parts of it that he didn't want to do. He just thought it was silly. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's sometimes because they can recognize that it's too difficult. If there's it's like this, because on the MOCA one there's the math one, you're going backwards in threes or something, and there's a lot of people just go like that. Don't bother me with that. So no, it's quite interesting. So good. Okay, I'm glad you used that, and that for everybody else, that those will be in the files, and you can download them from there. I know you've probably got some catching up to do, Gary, from past ones, but the one with Dr. Dan was pretty good. And there were some other ones. Again, we had the one that Carrie Ann and I went through with the hypno sleep for somebody living with dementia. That is really nice for a care partner to be able to do, because again, they just, I'm doing something else, and it can help them, relieve them from if there is any guilt, because there just sometimes is, we don't know, we're going to put that on somebody that you are feeling guilty, but it will be part of the we will have to, be aware that there is a roller coaster. So that's really important. I just want to go over some other things that we might need to be aware of, and the whole thing of transitioning to nursing homes. You're in England.
Yeah.
So it can be very different to the way it is in America.
Yeah, because presumably over there you have to find something and then pay loads of money.
Yeah.
Whereas you do over here, but there are different ways around it with local authorities and stuff.
Yeah.
Depending on savings and stuff. I mean, my father had social housing. So what you would know, obviously, council houses from the old days. He always had a council house. So because he didn't own property, there was no money. He had a meager amount of savings, but that was it. But he had a pension coming in and a smallish private pension, and it was organised that basically I think he used to pay something like £600 or £700 a month out of his private pension, and the state covered the rest. For his, okay, it wasn't a dementia home, but it was a care home, sort of an elderly care home. And they did actually have a dementia area as well, but that was on a different floor with different nurses and so he was just on the general part. But
Yeah.
but it was all covered, so pretty much covered by the state.
And here in America, I would suspect it's every state is different.
Yeah, yeah.
Just will be.
Yeah.
And there's Medicaid, and I think they actually can help quite substantially. So again, it's what has the person got, what have they got, and it will go on a similar thing, I would think, because it's expensive, but these it can be thousands of dollars or pounds a week.
Oh yeah, it is here. Yeah, the private stuff. Yeah, you're looking at sort of 1,500. The cheapest ones are sort of 1,500, 2,000 a week,
Yeah.
and that's for the non-dementia ones.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be looking at a lot more. So yeah, you're probably looking at 2,500, 3,000 a week.
Mm-hmm. So we have I would, that just in your back pocket, and anybody else watching this, have a contact who does this sort of transitioning. There's some local books near me. They have a magazine coming out regularly, and that's always upgrades places. Also, I do talks at these residential places where they do have as you say, another memory unit, and I do talks there. So that's a way I get to see what they're like inside.
Yeah, again, over here you'd struggle for that because there's so I mean, the other big thing they're always complaining about over here is okay, it might be slightly different than the dementia part because you'll have qualified nurses and doctors, I would hope, as part of it. But for general staff over here, all care homes are saying that they're not making any money and they're understaffed. And it's a very poorly paid profession over here. And virtually everybody that works in a care home is generally not English. They're Filipino or from sort of out from various parts of Asia, just because they're the only ones that will work for that money. And they're English isn't their first language, and B, they're so busy they're not interested in anything else.
Well, and there goes my concern.
Yeah.
That they are washing people very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think we had this conversation before, and I said, what would you like if somebody just pulled your sheets back and started washing you? And you said you'd probably quite enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I would probably hit somebody. But imagine if you have been abused, or if you have been whatever, and if you are even capable then of hitting someone back, get off, then you are put on psych meds, and then your demise is pretty rapid.
Yeah.
Once you're on a load of psych meds, I think it's like within the month. So, but yeah, people, you know, it must happen. But the whole thing of like, well, who are they? Who's this person? And every single, like twice a day, that might happen to you. And it's like, what's happening? What's happening? Can you imagine that cortisol in your body, that
Mm.
fear? And then say you can't even say it to anybody, or you just know that your family come round and you're like going, they might be crying, and the family's going, why are they crying? But they can't tell you because they can't remember.
Mm.
But they just know this feeling of not feeling safe and unhappy where they are. Absolutely hideous.
Mm. Mm.
And I cannot understand that this is what is going on, as you say, in England. Where is this training? Why can't, it's just like, just no. Or,
Yeah.
as you say, the good places, they have got well-trained staff. They do, but you have to pay. So
Yeah,
then it
and I don't know,
becomes a
I don't know.
whole.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a few here, and again, they all seem to be much of a muchness. You know, all the staff tend to be Filipinos or from that part of the world, just because they're the only ones that work for the money, because it's paid. Is it basically care home staff over here tend to be paid about minimum wage.
And yet it's not a minimum paid job.
No. No, but that's just seems to be how it is. You know, all the care homes that are private, and they say they can't make any money because the government isn't paying them very much for people. You know, and obviously over here it's not really expected for people to pay for it privately because they don't have the money to do that. So the state does a lot of it. They pay, as the care homes say, not enough for the care home to actually make any money anyway. So they have to cut costs everywhere, and the biggest cost cutting area is staff.
It's just horrible, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, um yeah, it's heartbreaking. So
yeah,
really, what we want to encourage then is prevention of.
yeah, yeah. In fact, to put that as an idea, I was trying to think when I used to visit my father, they had one receptionist who was English, and they had a lady that used to do their sort of activities during the day. She was English, but I think that was the only two people that I saw that were at the care home.
Wow. It's yeah, it's I mean, I've got no words
Hmm.
because I just think it's so terribly sad. And it's going the way for so many things.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
the maintenance man was English. That was another one. That's,
yeah, it's so prevention, staying within the family as long as you can.
hmm.
So it's like making sure that this first bit is drawn out for as long as possible with all the things that we are training people to do, because
Yeah,
hypnotherapy has been scientifically proven to help people living with dementia.
yeah,
Because it activates the um, acetylcholine, which is a brain synapse when
yeah,
they're in the hypnagogic phase. So even recordings that we can give people just so that they go into that hypnagogic phase, to strengthen and to remind them who they are, to laugh, to do this, to do that, and bringing in
hmm.
what they can do. It's just huge. And like I say, we might not necessarily make huge amounts of money doing this, but it's the awareness of it, and actually that you can give this as an extra to your clients. So I know you see mostly people living with cancer on their journey, Gary. But for anybody else, if you're in this, if you want this because you see a lot of clients who are in the sandwich generation, then if you can give them something else for, that's like, here's a cheat sheet, this is what you can do, then it's like it's just more and more information, and it makes you sound better as an authority, as a hypnotist, as a hypnotherapist, because you have something else that you can give, instead of saying I don't know. because we all want to know something, you know. Here's a free guide, that free guide that Barrow and I did together. Pass that on. And then there's so many things that people can do. And as I say, that other sheet that I give out on what you can do for brain health exercise, and encouraging the joining of activities out in the world, whether it be join the Lions, church, anything that they used to do or still like doing, encourage it. It's not about staying, oh, I've got to stay inside now because I've got this diagnosis. No, get out even more. Get out even more. Because you can lengthen that time that you're in the first stage. I don't mind saying, I think it is possibly one of the scariest things out there. Is having a neurocognitive disorder, because it just I really do. So that's quite interesting then about that with England. I didn't know it was. I think it's probably the same here in America. So it's not good. It's not good. So yeah. So could you? I want. Where else could you give any talks?
Yeah, not sure around here.
It'll come up if it's meant to. It'll come up, and same for anybody watching this. Just go and see. You've got networking groups. There's always I don't know what they call them over here, but what do they call them in England? Well, there's the Women's Institute, there's this, there's that, there's always places where people just want to go, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. And then you can literally just do a nice guided meditation for everybody, a relaxation and having them visualize something wonderful, whatever it is for them. I actually personally never take somebody on a beach or wherever they do, just drift off to a place where you want to go to, because I don't know where they want to go. Sometimes it's just Neverland. It could be just space, because I think we've discussed this, because we're not very visual ourselves, so I wouldn't expect anybody else to be. You're walking on a beach. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm not. But yeah, I think there's lots of things that we can do. So again, I think that just sums that up. We haven't got Carrie Ann on here because I know she always adds in a few other bits, has some questions. What questions have you got, Gary?
Oh, I haven't really.
No, I know we're winding down now, so there's it's hard to keep going on for the whole 52 weeks. It's like, what else can I add in here? Because I've done it, it's just going over and over it. And there's, keep reading. But yeah, I think having somebody in your back pocket that about nursing homes, so that if somebody does ask that question, you can go, I can get you in touch with so and so. I think also having really good support in the home, having some because I do know a few here actually. They go around people's houses and they do that, which I think then is less expensive than obviously somebody being in somewhere overnight. I think that's when it just goes right up. But if you have carers coming in, I think that's probably people's better bets. So make sure that you have that in your back pocket, and have a good housekeeper come in every so often to clean the place for you. Just once a month, because you just cannot do it all. It's and in fact, this is interesting. We because in order to live here in America, we have a housekeeping company, and the girls rang my husband once. They couldn't get into somebody's house. She was a 90-year-old lady. And my husband actually broke it, and she had fallen. She was she'd been in a bathroom, and my husband was able to call the hospital or the ambulance, and be able to ring the daughter. But interesting, isn't it? So they can find you if you have something, and it just so happened it was that day.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd have been a whole month later.
Mm.
She might have been found. That wouldn't have been very nice, would it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of people's fears as well, being found. But yeah, she'd fallen and she couldn't get back up. So I think she's something like 94.
Right.
So yeah, there's all sorts of things. Remembering there's always more information all the time. There's YouTubers doing things. Dr. Daniel Nightingale he's got a thing on TikTok, Instagram as well. Of course, there's always more resources coming out. And Teepa Snow, she actually lives in my area, North Carolina. She trains people, and we had one of her crew on here right at the beginning. She trains people to go in and help people. So they're brilliant resources, because they do different stuff than what we would do. As I say, we're there when somebody is first getting their diagnoses, and that we can help do the more prevention of getting it any worse. Okay, so we just need to know to stick in our lane. Yeah. Unless somebody's got other training, then good for you. Because whoever you are, you doing a great job, because it is not easy at all. And then it's and then hopefully they can stay in that place for a longer period of time. And then, as I say, sadly, something is going to get them, but preferably it be something else, as opposed to going down the really long journey of dementia where they haven't got no idea, and they're being washed without knowing what's going on. And as you say, they might get something else like pneumonia, or they call flu, don't they call that the old man's friend?
Well, I've not heard that. No.
Yeah, flu, the old man, or it's like it's sometimes it's the gift.
Right.
Takes them, and
Right.
it's like they just want to. Sometimes people want to go. It's like,
yeah, my grandfather did towards the end. So.
Right. Yeah, it's just
interesting enough, he was in hospital and it was pneumonia that got him. So yeah.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, just take me, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And it's bodies get worn out. The difference that we might be seeing people with is that anybody can get dementia. Anybody at any age can start with having a neurocognitive disorder. So and I believe it's more and more in people's 40s. That's scary. And it's often because of the crap they're putting inside their bodies. Yeah, we won't go there, will we, Gary? So, all right. So a fairly short one today, just going over stuff. Oh, we haven't got Carrie Ann's questions. So which are always helpful as well, to because I know she's got some good input. Oh, for Carrie Ann, who might be watching this, we did ask about the neuro the music, and actually Chase, he was quite into that, wasn't he, Gary?
Yeah, the isochronic stuff, which but measure something to your tone, so measure the pitch of your tone, and then use that tone actually in the background, divided up. I haven't got the amount of hertz that it loops in, but yeah, that was quite interesting.
Yeah. And it's so because I was thinking about you with the music there and the frequency, so it'll be good. Yeah, so but he agreed that was very important, so I thought that was quite good. Anyway, I'm going to stop the recording there, and it's like I say, it's just keeping repeating now, repeating the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks. Or maybe I should do a little test.
Or not. Or not.
So it's so I mean we had to do one. I remember I had to do one for Dan. That was quite scary. It was low, we had to like learn the book and everything and go over like big meaty questions. But anyway, all right, I'm going to stop the recording there. So thank you.